Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're taking a really fascinating journey into the mind, guided by the writings of an author known simply as Papa. We're going to dive deep into something called the illusion of knowledge, and we'll uncover a pretty wild, counterintuitive truth: why acquiring more knowledge actually means realizing you know less.
So let me ask you, do you truly know what you think you know? I know, it's a bit of a jarring question to kick things off with, but we really have to ask ourselves this, because the illusion of knowledge is a sneaky trap. It lures us into this false sense of righteousness about our own conclusions. It makes us rigid, stubbornly attached to our worldly understanding, when really, we should be staying relentlessly curious.
To really frame our big idea today, we're going to borrow some ancient wisdom from Athens. Socrates hit the nail on the head when he famously said, "I know that I know nothing." This points to a profound historical truth. True wisdom doesn't start with just memorizing a bunch of facts, it begins with intellectual humility. It starts the exact moment we are brave enough to recognize our own ignorance. And that brings us right to the core of our topic, the knowledge paradox. Basically, this is the phenomenon where acquiring new information actually expands our awareness of just how much we do not know. Just studying a topic isn't enough to master it. If we want to truly understand the world, we have to embrace our shortcomings and accept that our beliefs might be incomplete, or honestly, even entirely wrong. Papa weaves in this absolutely gorgeous biblical metaphor to explain the ever-expanding reach of human understanding, drawing right from the book of John. It reads, "In the beginning was the Word, and the life was the light of all mankind. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it." Here, Jesus is described as the Word, the ultimate light shining out into the vast, heavy darkness of human ignorance. Now think about that light. It brilliantly illustrates the geometry of our minds. Imagine your current knowledge as this bright, glowing center of a circle. As the area of your light and knowledge grows, your outer boundary, the circumference separating you from that vast, dark unknown, also expands. It's a mathematical certainty. Every single new fact you acquire literally increases your surface area of contact with the mysteries you have yet to solve.
Part 1. The illusion of competence, trapped by hidden assumptions. Let's see how this actually builds into real-world behavior and why we get so trapped by this illusion.
A massive example of this trap in action is the Dunning-Kruger effect, which comes with this dangerous dual burden. Basically, when people lack skill in a specific area, they usually also lack the self-awareness to recognize their own deficiency. Because they don't know what they don't know, their confidence wildly outpaces their actual ability. But ironically, as people actually become high performers, they tend to underestimate their skills because their expanding knowledge reveals just how insanely complex the topic truly is.
Let's look at a totally fascinating real-world test of this, the famous Marshmallow challenge. When you task people with building a freestanding tower out of just spaghetti, tape, string, and a marshmallow, corporate adults and business school students actually perform terribly. They spend all their time rigidly planning and jockeying for power. But kindergartners, they consistently win. Why? Because they just start building. They rapidly prototype and learn from failure. Look at the tools they get. The marshmallow is incredibly deceptive. It seems light and fluffy to the adults, so they confidently save it for the very end of their meticulous plans. But it's actually heavy enough to collapse a weak structure. That marshmallow perfectly represents the heavy, hidden assumptions in our lives that cause our careful, overconfident plans to buckle. We have to test our assumptions early, just like the kids do. Part 2. Deep Blue and the Power of Fast Failures. Let's pivot to a monumental clash of assumptions on the world stage back in 1997. 200 million. That is the staggering number of chess positions IBM's supercomputer, Deep Blue, evaluated every single second against humanity's ultimate champion, Garry Kasparov. It wasn't burdened by the illusion of knowledge. It used sheer computational brute force to rapidly evaluate, make mistakes, and fail fast in the background millions of times a second. It just continuously discarded bad assumptions until it found the right move, leading to its historic Game 6 victory.
Part 3. The connection. The tinkerer's advantage. Now, let's bring these big abstract concepts right back down to earth with a great everyday example.
I want to introduce you to Papa's father, Papa Cuber. He possessed this invaluable mindset for problem solving that totally bypasses the illusion of knowledge. Whether he was drilling a hole in his woodworking shop or out fishing, he never relied strictly on what worked yesterday. He'd try a new lure. If he failed to get a bite, he wouldn't stubbornly insist the fish were wrong. He'd immediately adjust his approach. He proved that continuous, humble experimentation will always beat relying on rigid past expertise. As Papa Q Bear would say when he finally landed a big fish, life is unpredictable. Keep tinkering until you find today's winning formula. This tinkerer's mindset is what keeps us open to the truth. Papa actually notes in his writings how the Pharisees completely missed the kingdom of God standing right in front of them because they were so rigidly blinded by their worldly knowledge, they forgot to tinker.
Part 4. Synthesis. Passing the candle. Let's wrap up our cinematic journey and clearly lay out how we can use this.
So what are our core takeaways from this explainer? First, recognize the expanding boundary of your ignorance. If the dark circle is getting bigger, it means you are growing. Second, test your hidden assumptions early and often. Don't wait to place the marshmallow. Third, adopt that tinkerer's mindset of rapid prototyping. And finally, blend your steady commitment to learning with deep modesty. Embracing a sense of ignorance is for sure the best path to endless personal growth.
There's a beautiful lesson on family wisdom Papa often imparts to his spouse, Colonel Debs. He emphasizes that true mastery requires us to pass the candle of knowledge with care. It means confidence and humility must walk hand in hand. You need the confidence to boldly seek the light, but you absolutely must pair it with the humility to accept the vast darkness you haven't yet illuminated. Which brings us to a final provocative thought. Now that you've seen the expanding circle of light, what will you do with the knowledge of your own ignorance? I really hope this explainer leaves you hungry to keep tinkering, to keep questioning, and to continuously seek the light. Thanks for joining me on this one, and as always, stay curious.